Right then, welcome back. And today, oh yes, today we're going to do a sell for this. The stupid, the daft, the unnecessary supercharged Kawasaki Z H2. Now, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, it really isn't, but what an absolute nut job of a bike. It's absolutely stunning. If you ever get a chance to have a nose around one in the flesh, in the metal, go and look at it. It is just an absolute work of art. From the frame, all the swing arm, you name it, it's mega. That's where we ended up. It's very much a bike of compromise. It is quick. It's not just quick for a naked bike, it's just fast. I mean, UMC down the main straight is pulling just well, 190, just over 190 I think, so it's quick, it's a quick bike, but the downside of that is it's heavy, but we'll come to that in a minute. Because it's so long, because of the way that they've done the frame, the engine, the swing arm and everything else, fantastic drive traction, but there is a downside to that, which we'll come on to when we get to the cons. And the noise, that rabid screaming, just forced induction in line 4, just absolutely revs. And then you get all the chirps and the tweets and the whistles and everything from the supercharger and the pressure control system within the supercharger system itself. It's just absolutely mega. Like, it is possibly one of the top 3 bikes on my list of bikes to own, alongside a Ducati Multistrada and a Tuono V4 1100. I think the Z H2 has to be up there as well. But anyway, cons: she's hefty. Oh, she's a big girl. She's quick, she's sturdy, she's nice to ride, but you wouldn't like to be one-on-one if she had the rugby ball and you were trying to stop her. She would flatten you. She's a big girl. It also needs better bits on it. There's the H2 and the H2R get top-end suspension, brakes, wheels, absolutely everything. ZH2, few corners have been cut. They do an SE model which gets electronic suspension. That's not the one in the game. It's the one with a separate function fork from shower, the big piston stuff. Funnily enough, exactly the same stuff that I've got on my CB1000R and Mrs. Motto has got on her Triumph Street Triple R. So yeah, not the best bits bolted to it. They could have put much better kit on it, but again, better kit equals more price, so I understand that they didn't want to do that. And a combination of power, great drive traction, and a few too many pies means it eats soft tyres. Whether you put a soft on the front or the rear, it doesn't matter. It will just destroy it. It will absolutely cremate it. You'll just be riding around with one of the tyres looking like a baboon's arse, and it will just get absolutely mullered. So, where do we go? What do we do? Well, rebound. Notice the rebound is set to about half of the compression and spring hardness. One of my very good subscribers, Rafa Lobo, pointed that out to me. So wherever we went, we tried to utilise that. So VAR South, again, a track that I'm a big fan of, down the straight over the start finish line, no braking markers for the first chicane, and it's just struggling to stop. Straight away we are struggling to stop. We're on a hard front, medium rear initially, and I do muck about with the tyre compounds, but again, over this little dip into this downhill left-hander, you can see the bike's moving about. It's forcing the tyres to do things the tyres don't want to do. Then you get on the gas and it just wants to step sideways. It's picking the front up, and through the fast left-hander, turn 9, over the little crest, it's starting to slide out under the power, a little bit of a wheelie, and then you've got to pin it on the brakes into the double right-hander, turn 10. And turn 11 before you go back out on the start finish straight. Now, it's not the easiest bike in the world to ride around quite a technical track like that. It is quite quick. I mean, we were going for a time that the Aprilia set of a 105.499. We didn't quite get there, but we would have ended up inside the top 12, so we would have been on page 1, which, for a bike that's only just ticking over into like the high 800s, low 900s, I don't think that's too bad. We then went to Laguna Seca, only one layout at Laguna Seca, and this is where it just started monstering tyres. Lots and lots of drive zones at Laguna Seca. Over the start finish zone, through turn 1, the bike's cranked over. Because it runs a 200 section rear tyre, it's smashing into the limiter all the time, but then you stand it up and the revs drop by about 2,500 RPM, so it's a little bit weird. Up into turn 5, again, fast entry, although it is banked, so the track gives you a little bit of support. And then up under the hill, braking before we go up towards a corkscrew. There's a little dip here in the track. You've got to be careful that you try not to do too many braking or steering manoeuvres through that little bump, over the brow of the hill, into the corkscrew. It doesn't want to stop, it weighs too much, the brakes aren't great. Again, we're running the hardest tyres that we possibly can, because it's just murdering them when we're running too soft a compound, especially out of this last turn. You get on the gas and it just wants to walk across the track. It just will go sideways rather than forwards. But in the end, it wasn't too bad. I was trying to get a 120.2. We ended up with a 121.4. Again, we're trying to beat times that much faster, I mean, look at it sliding into there, that much faster bikes have set, just trying to use the power. It's the RSV4 Factory 1100 that set that time. However, it's a competitive leaderboard because everyone likes Laguna Seca. Everybody wants to ride a bike there, and we ended up right down in the mid 120s. 125th is where we would have ended up, 121.448. But again, look at the company it's keeping in Panigale, V4Rs, etc, etc. Then we went back to VAR, to the full course. Now, I'm picking these events at random. That's why I end up doing certain courses and certain events, and some are night time, some are daytime, bits and bobs. I'm just working my way through all the events with all the bikes, and yes, I am keeping a track of the times because I want to see what bike is ultimately faster over every single event, because I've got nothing better to do, and MotoGP 22 was crap. Now that's off my chest, we'll go back to VAR full. Again, it's just controlling the bike and the power and the speed. This bit of track on the full layout, through the snake and then down this straight, under the bridge and then into the left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, is absolutely mega. Apart from the fact the bike doesn't want to turn. It does not want to go left to right, to left, back to right again. Watch this bump, horrible bump on the way in, which throws me wide when we're going into turn 12 now, and down over the crest. Braking markers for this very tight right-hander. Again, bumpy on the way in, loads of gradient changes, and you've got to just fight the bike. It doesn't want to stop. And then we come out of turn 20 and we're on the gas and over the start-finish line. And again, it's quick. I mean, that's 160, that's 170, and then it's smashing itself into the limiter because the angle of the tyre, the changing out in circumference between the outer and the centre of the tyre is so great. Where do we end up? Well, we ended up 27th, but again, it's 899. It's not the top end of the performance envelope for all the bikes, so I was quite happy with that. Next, UMC full. I did a couple of races at UMC Outer. I went back to VAR South, a lovely race at sunset, but I'd already had to go on the time trial, so I thought, well, there's no point doing it again. Speed-wise, 180, she pulls just about 190, go on, 191, 192 before we're on the brakes. By now, I've got a good feel for the bike. I can kind of work out that you've got to extend the braking zones just a little bit, and she's not too bad. Excuse me. If you do overcook it, it's that big and heavy and the wheelbase is that long that you can't just stop and turn. There's no point and squirt with this. You've just got to try and get it stopped, get it turned, and then try and stand it up. It will not do what the S1000 and M1000RR do. It will not change direction on a split second and fire out the corner. It takes a little bit of planning. Enter too fast, get on the brakes, she starts to have a little bit of a wobble. Up through the chicane, turn 20, turn 21, first and second attitude, very imaginative names for corners, and then bad attitude is the exit one, yeah. But you can see the rear tyre, the rear end is doing a massive amount of work. The front's fantastic, we've finally worked out the settings to get the tyre into a nice place, but all the traction zones out the corners on this track, it's just a bit too much for that rear tyre. But we did a, what, 237.225, which, again, for a big girl, I think it was too bad. Top 50. It's the fastest Z H2. I had a look through and tried to see if there was one that had gone quicker. The Street Fighter V4 is obviously faster. It's a much more higher rated bike. But we're batting with M1000s and Panigales and ZX10s and the bits and bobs like that. So yeah, she's doing alright. She's not too bad. But yeah, there you go. Have a go, let me know what you think. Speedy, have a go. It's really fast, mate. It's an absolute hoot. I can't wait to take it around the Nürburgring. It'll be an absolute giggle. And there you go. I will start doing some more track guides. I'm going away to work again in a week or so, so I've got to try and build a library of stuff up that I can get done before I go. But yeah, other than that, thank you. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing. You're all absolute legends, and fingers crossed I will see you next time. Take care, stay safe, peace.